Hello, my name's Bev and I'm the author of the book Please Eat, A Mother's Struggle to Free Her Teenage Son from Anorexia, which describes our family's battle with the deadly eating disorder, anorexia nervosa, which my teenage son Ben developed back in 2009 when he was just 15 years old. Welcome to Chapter 4, which is called Chopping Fruit. It's August and Ben is busy in the kitchen. Last night we had wine, oil and thyme-roasted butternut squash stuffed with Moroccan couscous, plus a watercress and tomato salad with horseradish dressing. On Saturday it was melt-in-the-mouth griddled rump steaks with a fiery pepper sauce and mushroom and pimiento side, accompanied by fresh aromatic herb and olive bread. There's even a breakfast option of blueberry and apricot muffins with chopped fresh fruit and yoghurt. In fact, the only thing that hasn't been a massive success is the evil-smelling sourdough bread that I wouldn't wish on my worst enemy. Meanwhile, cookery books are the new computer games, as Ben makes long lists of what he's going to cook next. "You won't need to cook for the next 12 months, Mum," he tells me indulgently. "Suits me," I say, brain dead from umpteen years slaving over a hot stove. I'm a pretty good cook, but to be truthful, he's better than me. Ben loves to watch TV cookery programmes. Tonight, it's River Cottage. We've already watched The Hairy Bikers and Jamie Oliver, and we never miss Nigella or Nigel Slater. Then there are all those programmes about what you should and shouldn't eat to stay healthy. Ben particularly loves the ones where they take an obese person and examine a typical week's food intake. The horrified look on Ben's face is a picture as they pour chips, crisps, cakes, cola, sweets, chocolate cookies, pizzas and a mountain of other baddies into a Perspex tube. Or they spread it out on a table for everyone to see and gasp in horror. This kind of programme makes us both feel incredibly smug and self-righteous with our healthy home-cooked meals. Ben has even started to love aubergines, courgettes and mushrooms, the only foods he never really liked. I am now in the enviable position of having a teenager that will eat anything. Well, almost anything. He's not too keen on things with too much fat or calories in them. Sometimes I wish they'd ban those darn nutritional labels, because Ben seems more interested in them than in the food the packaging contains. When on earth did Ben become interested in calories? Good God, the word calorie shouldn't even feature in a teenage boy's vocabulary. The more I think about it, the more I feel as if Ben's become a kind of food policeman. If I want to treat myself to goodies like biscuits or chocolate, I have to literally sneak them into the house and hide them. If he catches me, well, boy am I in trouble. When he comes shopping with me, he whips the offending items out of the trolley and back onto the shelf. Choc chips soft-baked cookies being the latest casualty that never made it to my mouth. "You don't need these, Mum," he barks. "Oh, yes I do," I plead. "I've had a bad day." I'm vaguely irritated. After all, I'm supposed to be the boss, not him. He's already planning what we're going to eat at Christmas. Sushi plus healthy things in phyllo pastry. Oh, and he's even offering to cook Christmas dinner. But no mince pies, chocolate logs, gooey, creamy goodies or Christmas cake, as we could all do with going on a health kick, so Ben says. Meanwhile, whatever I need from the cupboard or fridge has vanished, absorbed into the latest culinary delight. Talk about teenage boys eating you out of house and home. The trouble is, I don't think Ben is eating us out of house and home. It's Paul and me who are doing most of the eating. Ben is just doing the cooking. But he always seems to be there, armed with another tray of something mouth-watering, insisting we sample it while he looks on like an indulgent grandma. "Try this, Mum," he'll say, pushing a spoonful of whatever it is towards my face, refusing to take no for an answer. Go on, go on." The laden spoon gets so close I can't focus my eyes on it. I have no option but to open my mouth and taste. Sometimes I feel so full I can't eat another bite. I especially love the potato focaccia he's just baked. It's fantastic with butter. Any worries I may have about Ben cutting back on food I promptly put on a back burner as he shovels this into his mouth, slice after luscious slice. But what I don't know is that inside his head something is already beating him up for getting out of control and pigging out. It's a voice that is about to get louder, much louder. When Ben's not cooking, he's busy rewriting our cookery books. He looks almost saintly in his white apron as he conjures up yet another calorie and fat-stripped meal or bake. See, you can make cakes without fat. Why fry onions in oil when you can dry fry? It's so much healthier, Mum. I'm reminded of the Slimming magazine I used to buy in the 1970s with its thin twin recipes reworked with clever little calorie-saving tricks like replacing half the meat with grated carrot, lightly spraying the pan with oil rather than slugging it in, using cornstarch to make a cheese sauce rather than traditional butter and flour, with half-fat cheese naturally. Look, he exclaims with enthusiasm as we go round the local supermarket. They're doing an extra light mayonnaise now. Ping, into our trolley it goes, having passed the fat and calorie content test with flying colours. Sometimes it seems as if he's hijacked the entire supermarket shopping experience, and the kitchen too. He's making the shopping lists, organising the menus, even rearranging the fridge and cupboard contents. Don't you mess it up, Mum, or I'll be furious. He's begun to watch me when I'm eating, like a hawk. If I leave anything on my plate, he comes down on me like a ton of bricks, and I'm sick of repeating, I'm a middle-aged woman, I'm only 5'3". I don't need to eat as much as a growing teenage boy. Don't eat that, you'll spoil your evening meal, Ben snaps as I reach for the biscuit jar. Yet again I feel irritation, but this time it's tinged with something else that I can't put my finger on. Meanwhile, the running has become more rigorous and the gym visits more frequent, supplemented by sit-ups, press-ups and crunches, plus a daily yoga session. I'm impressed with his dedication, but something at the back of my mind clicks in with, this isn't normal. Is it my imagination, or is Ben losing weight? So I say, you realise that with all this extra exercise, you should be eating much more than you are. But he just shrugs it off, reminding me of how easily he puts on weight and insisting that he, with his body makeup and low metabolism, doesn't need loads of food. And anyway, he's still a teenager, not a grown man. I don't want to get fat, he says. You know what I was like as a kid. All the more hurtful. Mum, why did you feed me so much when I was a kid? To which I immediately snap, I didn't. You loved your food and you made my life hell if you didn't get it. Then I add, with all this exercise and healthy eating, there's as much chance of you getting fat as there is of me winning the lottery. I remind him that lots of young children have puppy fat. And anyway, you're different now. Your body has changed. I tell him I'm worried he isn't eating properly and is losing weight. Ben looks at me aghast, as if I've made the most ridiculous comment in the universe. Mum, I've got a gut and a double chin. Look! He prods the offending areas. All I see is skin. All right, I think I'll prove to him how much he needs to eat with all this exercise. I send off for a book, a Bible of sports nutrition, and point out the calorie-laden eating plans on its pages. If you're doing weights, running, rowing and bikes, you need to be eating at least this much every day. I point to page after page of charts, but Ben scarcely looks at them. He knows better. All he seems bothered about is the damage that high levels of saturated fat can do to his body. It has become public enemy number 1. He refuses to eat anything with even a hint of saturated fat in it. And before long, all the other fats have been thrown into the baddies basket too. Fat is bad. Fat must be avoided at all costs. I'm painfully aware that Ben's whittling down the lists of food he will eat to the bare minimum: fruit, vegetables, salad, and diet foods. Fast forward to the present day, I'm beginning to put this book together, and I'm talking to Ben about these crucial months between his 15th birthday and the end of summer 2009. What prompts this is a photo of Ben and his friends taken at that birthday party. There's stuff everywhere: bedding, snacks, games, consoles, all the usual things you'd expect in a boy's bedroom. A flushed Ben is standing on the left, smiling, hands in pockets, just a normal boy messing around with his mates. Earlier on, I remember they'd been spraying each other with the shower hose and making a terrible racket. Inside I was feeling fat, flabby and greedy, he tells me. I'd just eaten an entire box of chocolates in one sitting. Given half the chance, I'd eat anything in one go and then make myself do a 60-minute run to wear it off. Come back exhausted and have to sit down all afternoon because I was knackered. He tells me how he began to get depressed, constantly swinging from a real high to a real low, from eating loads to eating next to nothing, he said. It wasn't a new thing, no. I'd been like this for years. All or nothing. I found it hard to work out a middle ground. Food made me feel happy, but I began to feel I needed to earn it. Otherwise I wasn't allowed it, and I started skipping breakfasts. But then I'd mess it all up by having huge puddings in the evening and stuff, which is why, at that early stage, I wasn't losing weight, so you didn't notice anything. I had no idea what was happening to me. I was so mixed up, but I thought it was just part of being a teenager. When Ben first took up rugby, he enjoyed it. It was fun, he says. But as time went on, it became like a millstone around my neck. I was fed up with it, but too scared to stop in case I put on weight. All that hard work for nothing, I couldn't face that. Then I began to look at the nutritional content of food and was horrified at the amount of calories I was eating. Heck, back then, I didn't even know that whipped cream contained fat. I thought it was whipped milk. So I had a bit of a think. First, I'd cut back on stuff like breakfasts and school dinners. Then I figured out that by switching to low-fat or no-fat options, I could eat the same quantity but do less exercise. What you were seeing over that summer, Mum, was me rewriting recipes and producing fat-free bakes so I could stuff my face without getting fat. So, I say, it felt like the proverbial magic bullet. Yep, he says, but the irony was that instead of exercising less, I began to exercise more than ever, press-ups, sit-ups, you name it. And it continued to shock me how many calories were in things, stuff I used to eat without a second thought, ice cream, crisps, biscuits. I began a mental blacklist of foods I wouldn't eat. Also, one of the reasons I'd stopped seeing my friends over that summer was because I knew they'd often end up in a burger or pizza bar, and that kind of place was a total no-go area for me. One afternoon, Ben arrives back from the gym in a foul mood. I'm getting used to opening the front door and bracing myself for the latest tale of woe. Talk to me, Ben, I insist as he walks wordlessly past me like a zombie. Tell me what's wrong, maybe I can help. He rests his head against the hallway mirror, fists against the wall. Gradually, he begins to emit a long, low roar, like an animal in pain, flicking his head round to stare me in the face. I haven't seen him like this before. Mum, can't you see? He shrieks, flailing his arms around like he used to do as a toddler. I hate the gym. I hate all this exercise. I hate it, I hate it, I hate it. He's beginning to get all worked up and almost hysterical. I'm taken aback. All I can say is, then why do it? Stop! Right now, just stop doing it. I can't, Mum. Don't you see? I can't stop. I have to do it. Tears are streaming down his reddened face. I can't tell if the penetrating look he's giving me is a cry for help or just hopelessness. Right, I'm going to cancel the gym membership, I say, as if this will solve the problem. And I want you to stop all that running. Go out with your friends instead. Have fun. But I have a feeling I'm banging my head against a brick wall. Could Ben be addicted to exercise? Like someone can get addicted to drugs or alcohol? Chop, chop, chop. Ben's in the kitchen with bags of assorted dried and fresh fruit. These days we buy an awful lot of fruit. He's been in the kitchen for quite some time, carefully chopping the fruits before arranging it on a small plate. This is his dessert. The next dessert will look identical. Ben won't let me go to the supermarket alone, making the excuse that he needs to choose his own fruit. But I'm aware that he's scrutinising what I buy more than ever. Everything that goes into the trolley is analysed to make sure it passes the fat and calories test, and if it doesn't, then it goes back onto the shelf. It takes far longer to do the supermarket shopping than it used to. It's also becoming incredibly stressful. On the occasions when I do manage to sneak to the supermarket alone, I find I'm policing my own shopping. I'd better not buy this or that because Ben will refuse to eat it. Things like cheese, puff pastry, ice cream, cookies and cake, even semi-skimmed milk are no-nos. Even bread has fat in it, says Ben, so he doesn't eat very much of that either. Better to buy low-fat or no-fat groceries because at least I know he'll eat them. I'd rather he eat these than nothing at all. I also find myself flicking through food magazines, discounting the vast majority of recipes. I can't choose that one, it's got cheese in it. Or some kind of sauce? Only if it's tomato sauce and onions must now be dry fried. Meat? Only if it's 100% lean. Pastry? Not a chance. Cream? Who are you kidding? Greek yoghurt, maybe? Only if it's 0 fat. Or won't 2% fat be okay? 1% maybe? Unfortunately not. What's happened to the Ben who would eat anything? The boy who would clean his own plate and proceed to clean ours too? In fact, watching him chopping at fruit, I have a sneaking suspicion that he's probably eating even less than we think. And I don't understand why, especially as he's doing all this exercise. Don't you think Ben's lost a lot of weight? My mother-in-law remarks when she visits in September. She hasn't seen him since Christmas, and I can see by her face she's shocked at the change. Don't you think he should see a GP? That night we eat out at a country pub. My mother-in-law is watching Ben like a hawk, noting what he does and doesn't eat, and how he's careful about what he chooses from the menu. He's taking awfully long to choose too, switching from one choice to another, then back again. He's also silent and subdued. These days, he's like this much of the time. Once she's gone, I can't get her words out of my head, or the shocked expression on her face. Suddenly, I'm looking at Ben with different eyes. Yes, we were aware he was losing weight because of the healthy eating and exercise. But I think we were also assuming he'd snap out of it once he was back at school, eating school dinners and playing rugby. A day or so later, Ben and I spend a day in Liverpool. I'm so relieved to see that he's back to his normal light-hearted self. I'm even more relieved when we order a couple of huge take-out subs from Subway and eat on a bench, chatting away, just like old times. We visit the art gallery and I have coffee in the cafe afterwards. Ben has a fizzy drink, a non-diet drink, I notice. Then at the station we buy the latest Good Food magazine, which we read together on the journey home. It's this kind of event that confuses me, that makes me wonder if I'm worrying over nothing. Is Ben developing a problem? Or is it just a passing teenage phase? Will he bulk out once he gets back to school dinners and the rugby pitch? I know my mother-in-law suggested we visit the GP, but how can I claim that Ben isn't eating when he clearly is? Or at least he is some of the time. I don't know what to do. I can't decide if there's anything wrong or not. However, Ben is still exercising, despite claiming that he hates it. He's exercising more than ever. And he's still revamping recipes and avoiding certain foods and policing the kitchen and supermarket shopping. He is also getting thinner. So it wouldn't do any harm to have a chat with the GP, just to be on the safe side. I make an appointment. The GP can't see us for another week or so. So that's the end of chapter 4. If you click on the in-video link that will appear at the end of this video, you can go on to chapter 5, which is called Back to School. It would also be really good if you could like this video, and you can subscribe to my channel by clicking the subscribe button below. Oh, and don't forget to visit my blog. You'll find the link below. You'll also find a link to my website where you can download PDFs of my blog for free.